Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and the blind is due to Yahweh by Shem HaMashiach Malak Yahushai. Second, this brother Yardan, WFI Detroit, coming back at you with yet another cold cut. Today in this cold cut, we're going to pick up where we left off from the previous video, Salakia, which was the Amalekites having a dominance in the porn industry. All right? We have to really dive deep into this and find out why is this such an issue and really the inception of it all, right? How did it start? Right? Where are the roots to it? Because you have to understand your enemy, Salakia. You got to understand your enemy, you know? And when you understand your enemy and you tell certain information to another brother, you know, that helps them become more aware and helps them understand how evil it is. Because sometimes people do it with not really knowing the history behind it. Once you know the history behind something, it changes your entire mind. Right? Similar to Christmas or Thanksgiving. You tell somebody the history behind it, and they'll stop doing it. It gives them more reason to not do that wicked thing. All right, so we're going to go to, or try to the best of our ability to start at the beginning. All right, and it starts with this wicked ass man. All right, Al Goldstein, the publisher, and you know with that last name, you know who it is. All right, it's not Moab. When you hear a name like Goldstein, don't think of Ham, don't think of Ishmael. You damn sure better not think of damn Ammon. You know who that is. You know who last name that is. Al Goldstein, the publisher of Screw Magazine, said on LukeFord.com, the only reason that Amalekites are in pornography is that we think, and I ain't going to finish that sentence because not all things are meant to be uttered, like it says in Maccabees. Catholicism sucks. We don't believe in authoritarianism. Pornography thus becomes a way of defiling Christian culture. All right, so this is crafty counsel, right, being made manifest. Right, that's Psalms 83. Right, that's the tabernacles of Edom. Best believe Esau pitched this idea. All right, let's put this on the internet. Let's make it accessible to the millions. All right, and not only that, we're going to hope that many Israelites get destroyed mentally and emotionally. Because war isn't always killing someone. War can be mental as well and emotional. All right? You want to emotionally stabilize or destabilize your opponent. All right? Or put them in a docile state. That's exactly what happened in Genesis 34th chapter. And I'll get it real quick. You have to understand, you know, there's a lot of aspects to see this, you know. This is Genesis chapter 34. We'll jump all the way down to 14. I'll start at verse 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised, then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughters, and we will be gone. All right? So the sons of Jacob, you know, they was plotting. This is crafty counsel, right? This is war. All right? They didn't just pull out the sword and just fall upon them. All right? This is crafty counsel. Verse 18. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's father, it's like Hamor's son, and the young man deferred not to do the thing because he had delight in Jacob's daughter. and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, These men are peaceable with us. Therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us, for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised. All right, let's get to the point. We're going to jump down to 25, verse 25. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all their males. Right? And this was made possible. Why? Salakia. This was made possible, right? Because of their counsel. Their counsel allowed them to have success in their war. Right? So we bring this out to say, Esau isn't always going to just fall upon you and destroy you. Esau is going to set snares and traps along the way, right? He has to be creative because, he's Satan on earth. All right. And again, this goes back to pornography because this is one of his snares. This is one tactic, one device that he uses, one of many that he utilizes to destroy Israel, again, emotionally and spiritually. So this is a pretty long, pretty lengthy paper. We're not going to read it all. Amalek's dominance in the porn industry. I mean, geez, I don't even know where to start. I kind of hate to go too much into this, but I mean, is where you kind of look into it on your own time. But it might be one thing I want to pull. Yeah, just lewd. Amalek in America have been sexual revolutionaries. A large amount of the material on sexual liberation was written by Amalek, those at the forefront of the movement that forced America to adopt a more liberal view of sex were Amaleks. Overall, then, performers are a group of peoples who praise rebellion, self-fulfillment, and promiscuity. All right? Wildness, debauchery, immortality. It's like immorality. So keep in mind, every time you watch that filth, every time you click that button, every time you scroll, Esau is clapping his hands. And guess what? You're moving in the spirit of Esau. You're moving in the spirit of rebellion and self-fulfillment and promiscuity, debauchery. Let's Google that word. Debauchery. Oof. What is that? Lust. Perversion. Self-indulgence. And hedonism. That's a big word, That's what the Greeks were into. That was their lifestyle. That was their philosophy. For those who don't know, it's the pursuit. Now you got the pursuit of happiness, which is, off too, because that's pretty vague. But nevertheless, you have different types of pursuit. The pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of peace, the pursuit of mankind to dwell together. Then hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure, sensual, self-indulgence, pleasure-seeking, high living, immoderation. Again, every time you click that video, you fell into his trap. You didn't even fight. You just fell into it. All because you clicked that video. You kept scrolling. You didn't delete that woman's number. Sexual Liberation was written by Amalek, those at the forefront of the movement that forced America to adopt a more liberal view of sex. Right? This brief overview and analysis of the world of motivations behind and performers is intended to shed light on the neglected topic in America, Amalek popular culture. That's a shame. Wow. Hey man, hey, I'm finished. I'm done. I'm not, no. You get the point. That's sickening. You know how many Israelites fall short because of that? Esau allows this to be on the internet. He allows this. He promotes it. And he gets money off of it. And then a lot of Israel, you get into it. You actually become entertainers, or even on the OnlyFans for a quick buck. You sold your soul. So remember, Israelite man, every time you open up that thing, oh man, you're self-indulgent and you hate the Lord. Because the Lord's not like that. The Lord's not with that. Now you can say, well, I don't dislike anybody. I didn't say that. No, you're showing it, brother. You're showing it. Yeah, I'm talking to you, brother. I'm talking to you. You know? And like with every cold cut, all the words, we tell Israel, whether it be me, another brother that may execute a cold cut, we say it not only to Israel, but to ourselves as well. The research has shown, right, moving on a little bit, because that's a mess. Amalek started that. Let me get that precept. It's just been sitting there. Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Let me start up because, Israel don't really start up. I'll start at 14. Follow peace with all men and holiness. The Lord said follow holiness, right? High living and self-pleasure isn't holy. You're being with the in crowd. That's why the Lord said wide is the gate, right? When you jump into that wide gate, everybody in it. But not everybody's in that straight and narrow. I digress to bring out Hebrews chapter 12, verse 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fall, like he fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled, lest there be any fornicator. So this is Paul really telling Israel, hey, don't be this guy, unless you be this guy, unless you be that guy. Don't be these guys pretty much. And he's saying, don't be like Esau, that fornicator or profane person, as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. In other words, Esau sold his soul for flesh. That's nasty. You don't want to tear a piece of your soul and exchange it for your flesh or for Satan. That's what you're doing. You're tearing a piece of your soul, your spirit out. And here you go, Satan. Fulfill my flesh. And then the sin is accomplished. And then you put your head down and you get mad. You kind of beat yourself up. You feel that shame. And then you do it all over again the next day. So, moving on. Research has shown that pornography use is correlated with physical changes in the brain. This visual stimulus of pornography hijacks the brain's reward system and overwhelms it with unnatural Key word, operative word, unnatural. Prolonged dopamine levels. Now that's science, that's Esau's talk, that's psychology talk, and that's okay, fine. We get it. But on a spiritual level, it's spirits. Because every time you destroying and breaking your body, you breaking your vessel, you slapping a monkey, whatever y'all call it these days, you know, hey, that the spirits, it's spirits jumping on you, you know, and you're entertaining spirits. They're watching you. Some people have sleep paralysis and they kind of see spirits and demons, whatever. Every time you breaking your vessel, you slapping a monkey, hey, those spirits are watching you. As if you see them when you having a sleep paralysis. They're watching you and they're excited. They're getting off at that. They're like, yeah, nigga. They're excited that you falling short. But what did Paul say? What did the Lord say? Because the Lord said at the end of the day, lest there, it's like you're looking diligently. He said, follow peace with all men and holiness without which no man shall seek the Lord. Oh man, this whole chapter is good. Oh man, I want to start up more. I'll start at 12. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down. Hey, that's a spirit. He said, lift up the hands that hang down. Stop making your hands hang down, brothers. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees. The feeble knees. And make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men and holiness. You want to follow holiness, which no man shall seek the Lord. It's like which no man shall see the Lord. It's like it without which no man shall see the Lord. Right? You're not going to see the Lord if you're not following peace, if you're not doing this, and if you're not doing that, right? And looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled, right? Thereby there's a lot of brothers get defiled, and it just said defiles Christians. What did it say? Pornography thus becomes a way of defiling Christians. Thereby many be defiled, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. For ye are not come unto the mount that might be touched, and the burned with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of the trumpet. Well, that's pretty much it on that, right? So, your spirits jump on your brain, and pretty much your spirit, evil spirits, demonic spirits, lust spirits jump on you and break you down. All right. It hijacks the brain reward system and overwhelms it with unnatural, prolonged dopamine levels. The result is the brain physically deteriorating in shape, size, and chemical balance. And like with anything else in the scriptures and in real life, we know spirits can physically harm you, physically destroy your body, right? Make unnatural things happen to you. So it literally destroys your brain. You become addicted to it. This is damn near like smoking cigarettes. So let's see. The effects of pornography on the brain. We're winding down. The good news is that porn pathways aren't reinforced. They'll eventually disappear. As any addiction, the addiction to porn can be overcome, right? In the name of the Lord, it can. Why? What did the Lord say? Hey, everything go back to the Lord, right? Esau, he can say that, but he won't pull a precept. This is Philippians, the classic, And you got to really understand how important this verse is. Christians use this verse without knowledge, you know. They don't understand the deepness behind it. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. That's a heavy verse. I mean, when was the last time you told yourself that? Be honest. When was the last time you said, I can do all things through Christ? I can do all things through Yahweh Shai. I can. I really can. You know? So that's something that should be said within your self-examination. The images are burned so deeply into the mind that the person will remember them for a long time to come, maybe the entirety of their lifetime. Some things is just hard to get out of your head. You close your eyes, you see it. You're walking down the street, you see it pop in your head. That's how dangerous it is. But only through prayer and fasting can spirits jump off you. You know? Just like an addict, just like an addict, regular consumers will end up turning to porn more often or seeking out more extreme versions. And that's a precept in Sirach. I want to say 8. What's that? What's that verse? Just slipped my mind. Let's see. It slipped my mind. Let me see. Here we go. Sirach chapter 19 and verse 4. He that is hasty, that's not it. Oh, 19:1. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness shall not be rich. And drunkenness doesn't always have to refer to physical drinking, right? Drunkenness can be referred to, or drinking until you're drunk can be referred or applied to, or likened it to, I'll use that verbiage. It can be likened to excess or unnecessary indulgence, I would say, like pornography. All right. That's getting drunk. You're getting drunk, you know. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness, such as this, shall not be rich. I mean, the Lord said in James 2:5, we're rich in faith, right? However, if you get drunk and start drinking wickedness, you won't become rich because your faith dwindles. Salaki. What are you doing? Get out of here. Get out of here. Because your faith dwindles every time you sin. Because you're not meditating upon the Lord or thinking about Him. This is... I had another one in Sirach. I'll get that a little later. I'll move back on to this. All right? Because I want to touch on this again. Just like in an addict, regular consumers will end up turning to porn more often or seeking out more extreme versions to feel excited again. That's why I brought that out. Sirach 19 and 2 or 1. It was more than that. A laboring man shall not be given to drunkenness. It's like a laboring man that is given to drunkenness shall not be rich. And he that contemneth small things shall fall little by little. Right? When you say, oh, it's not that bad. And then you do it again and again and again. You're falling little by little. Right? You're making worse things happen by the day. Because you keep telling yourself it's not that bad. And it keep getting worse and worse. You're digging into a deep hole. Into that deep ditch. You digging into that deep ditch. You know, one day you looking up this, and the next day you looking up something that could, you know, jam you up. Researchers have found that internet-borne and addictive substances like tobacco have a very similar effect on the brain. Like other addictions, porn activates the part of the brain called the reward center, triggering the release of cocktail chemicals that give you that temporary buzz. Right? And as we mentioned before earlier, you know, you give a piece of your spirit off to Satan, and he rewards you by satisfying your flesh. So I have 2 Corinthians 4:18 right here. Let's get it. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Right? This flesh, I mean, it's temporal. Right? This feeling, that temporary buzz, is temporal. Right? I mean, these words are interchangeable. Really, they're synonymous. They're the same thing. Right? They're cousins. Temporary and temporal, they're literally the same thing. You understand? So remember that as well before you do some folly. That is temporary buzz. Remember what it say in Hebrews? Let's get it. Hebrews chapter 11. That's it. That's right. Hebrews chapter 11. 11 and 25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Right? Because 9 times out of 10, you're resorting to this because you had a bad day. You know, your woman's not texting you back. I don't know, you got fired. You know, you're not making enough money. You're low self-esteem. I don't know, it could be anything. You know, you got sick. You feel depressed. Right? Instead of enduring and suffering affliction, right? Like it's saying Hebrews 12 and 5, even understanding that through that affliction, the Lord is trying to make you stronger. You're saying, nah, I'd rather suffer sin for a season. I'd rather suffer sin for a little while. Anything just to get that buzz. Just something to take the edge off. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense. That was it on that. All right, so let's see that last one. Over time, excessive levels of these chemicals cause porn consumers' brains to develop a tolerance. And then like one day you're watching it for 5 minutes. Next day might be 30 minutes. Next day might be an hour. And next week it's hours. And next year you're watching it all day. Or maybe the day after that you're watching it all day. Literally all day. This is Sirach 16:23. He that wanteth understanding will think upon vain things. Wanteth means to lack, or if you want something, you're lacking it. So he that wanteth understanding will think upon vain things, and a foolish man erring imagineth follies. That's plain. I mean, this got to be the damn near perfect precept. You know, if you're struggling with this. I'm going to read it again. Verse 15, 16 and 23. Sirach 16:23. He that wanteth understanding will think upon vain things. If you're lacking understanding, you'll think upon vain things. Why? I mean, you got to think about it. When you meditate upon the Lord, you're not lacking in understanding because you're thinking about the Lord and what he loves. You're literally, full of understanding and wisdom. But if you're not thinking about the Lord and meditating about him, now you lack understanding. And then that's going to make you think upon vain things. What's vain? This word right here. That word right there. Right here, brother. That's vain. You understand? You gotta see it again. This is vain. This word, this action, I'll say, it's vain. He that wanteth understanding will think upon vain things, and a foolish man erring. In other words, he's erroneous, he's wrong, imagineth follies. Oh man, that's bad. That's a bad man. What's this? All right, we'll close out with this precept. That's right, because I mean, of course, it's Yahweh Shai, but nevertheless, that's what you got to pray to the Lord. Yahweh Shai set me free from this spirit. This Sirach 14 and 9. I get two more. Sirach 14 and 9. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and that's why that's why I said it builds that tolerance. You're not satisfied. You need more and more and more. Anything to fulfill your flesh. Again, a covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drieth up his soul. Verse 4. He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others that shall spend his goods riotously. With that, I'm a bid Israel. Shalom, Aparatazah. Israel's been edified through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. Israel, examine yourselves daily to see if you're in the faith or not. Shalom.